everyone. I'm headed up to find Keith and the sickle mower, but first I thought I'd show you this beautiful milk truck. We have a newer hauler here since, 2 or 3 months ago. I lose track of time. Love that American flag. Hey ladies, get out of the mud and go eat. Go find higher places up in the pasture. This is a heifer pasture directly behind the barn. I'm sure you've seen heifers poking their heads in the windows. We had heifers here over the winter and it was quite a buildup of manure, especially up here in this corner. So Keith spent some time this week trying to push some manure out of there into that nice big pile down there. It would be ideal to be able to put the 4 heifers that are currently in the back pen of the barn out into this pasture, but we sure would like to see it dry out some first. Maybe even start growing some grass again. But I just don't think we can wait that long. You know, when you can't find your husband, you look for the tractors to see if there's a tractor gone. And there's not a tractor gone yet, so perhaps he's in the shop. And there he is.
Did you knock?
No, but the bell is ringing.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to scare the milk lady.
She here?
She is. Are you working on that to get it ready for the fair or something?
Not necessarily.
No?
Just to finish another project.
Yeah. Waiting for it to dry out a little bit. That is really cute. Where did you get that?
At an auction?
No kidding. I'm wondering if while you're looking at that, would you mind telling folks how you obtained that sickle mower, that new idea sickle mower?
At an auction.
Okay, so did you go to the auction specifically for that sickle mower?
Nope, never do.
Well, sometimes you go to auctions with
Just
something in mind.
Home with things that I figured I could use.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go to auctions with specific purchases in mind, but I suppose a few times I have come home with what I went to buy, but usually, since I have such good taste and so do others with more money than I, they go home with what I went to the auction for.
It's true. Well, what items have you obtained that you went for?
Whew.
I know there have been a couple of
some
things.
tools, my bandsaw maybe.
Well, there's something that we went up to Columbus. Now, I know this is years and years ago, but we went up to Columbus and you brought something home.
I've brought a lot of things home, but
No, but I thought there was something specific there you went for that you did end up bringing home.
maybe my disc.
Okay.
But no, usually I come home with things that I deem to be an incredible value. I went to the auction not knowing that I needed it.
Right. That's what I do at thrift stores.
Your lens is kind of dirty.
Is
Can
it?
you folks see me okay?
Do we have any?
There's dust there.
Oh no, sorry, it's kind of like my glasses, which is probably why I can't see any dust on the lens. Yeah, it's kind of like when I go to thrift stores. Boy, I didn't know I needed that until I saw it there and it spoke to me and said, please take me home because you might be able to use me someday for something. But unfortunately, I have an entire room of such things that
Why
right
don't you
now.
go give the folks a tour of your room?
Oh my goodness, because I can barely get in there. It would be embarrassing. But my room kind of is just on the other side of that wall. And back a couple winters ago, Keith put a hole in the wall for me with a pipe that we can direct heat back there. So if I'm ever in the mood or have some time to go up in the cooler months, we can direct some heat and get some stuff done.
I remember one day she used it.
Yeah, one day I was up there. That little piece right there came off a feed cart that someone hired Keith to redo. And he ended up rebuilding just a lot of it. I shouldn't even say rebuilding. He ended up building quite a bit because the feed cart was in pretty rough shape. But it was a gift to an old-time farmer. It had actually come from his farm, and they did an auction for him to sell off some things, but they quietly kept that piece back so that Keith could do something with it, and in turn they gave it back to him, and he was very pleased with it. Wish we had it here to show it to you. I may have a picture. Maybe I could show you the finished product.
It was not my gift, though. It was actually the auctioneer's gift.
Right, it was the auctioneer's gift to the farmer. Keith was just the repairman.
If you'd like to help the poor farmer out, come over to my shop and do some whining.
Yep. Keith posted a picture of this yesterday. I wanted to show it to you. He made this bench for Lydia to take to Jefferson County Fair next week because their theme, is it just red, white, and blue, or does it have more of a slogan? Do you remember?
Red, white, and blue. The fair is for you, possibly.
Something like that. Yeah. So he made this bench, painted it red, white, and blue, obviously. And then this is a sign that we picked up at a flea market earlier this summer. Kind of retro looking. Not sure that it's really retro. What did you think? Is it really retro?
It's probably Chinese.
Yeah. But because of the red, white, and blue.
I don't know. Maybe it's got some age to it.
Yeah, it's got a good slogan though. Be healthy, drink pure fresh milk. And Keith, on his dairy report, was it last month or this month that you said that consumption or sales of fluid milk is up for the first time and
for the first quarter of 2024.
But in comparison to,
I don't know, it's got to be almost decades. Fluid milk consumption has been falling and falling and falling. But to offset that, cheese consumption has generally been going up.
all right.
It's all that lead paint dust I just ate.
So Keith was wondering if people are, maybe since 2020, trying to take back control a little bit of their health and trying to go back to their roots. I don't know, but maybe just people are finally realizing that milk is just a good, healthy thing for you to be drinking as opposed to energy drinks and soda pop. And
to be perfectly honest, though, milk would be more healthy for you if you would get your own cow.
Yes, and drink raw
and
milk.
Drink it before the dairy cooked it and homogenized it and everything and took all the fat out of it.
Yes, totally agree.
Probably some of the protein. But
yeah.
Now I'm working against myself because I still sell milk commercially.
Well, except you don't sell fluid milk so much.
No, actually, I sell ice cream. The milk I sell goes to ice cream, so go ahead and eat your fill of Prairie Farms ice cream.
Yeah, get yourself some Prairie Farms. Well, Prairie Farms is our co-op, so any Prairie Farms product that you purchase would help our co-op. Now it's turning into a commercial.
It is. Oh, there we go. Prairie Farms, if you see any ice cream that kind of looks like that.
Or cottage cheese, sour cream, heavy whipping cream, chocolate milk. We thank you in advance if you ever see that and purchase it. But yeah, we didn't intend for this to turn into a commercial.
But that's how we make our money. Try to.
It is.
There's nothing wrong with the fella earning a living.
No, I know. This would have been from the 1980s, correct?
70s.
1970s?
Yes.
Sorry.
Now Mama's gonna show you how.
How's my hair? About as it always says.
Sweetie, there's nothing you can do about it anyway.
No, yeah.
Goodness, let me find a chair.
Well, you do a better job of explaining the shop. This is your space.
I'm not explaining the shop. I'm explaining something in the shop.
Oh.
I'm grabbing you a chair, walking it over to my organ.
Oh.
Since I can't play, but I did in a roundabout way inherit a organ.
Yep. Well, again, this is an auction story, and I can't remember if I've explained this already or not, but Lydia's former boss, Pete Stoddy, is one of the sons of a man by the name of Bill who created this auction service. And they're not too far up the road up there in Jefferson, and so we enjoy going to their auctions. And unfortunately, there are pieces like this that very few people would be interested in these days. It's a pump organ, and at the auction, it actually was not functioning. One of the bellows or both bellows were disconnected, pedal-wise. See, this is where you would explain better what you had to do.
No, I think actually the reeds were plugged with
dirt. A lot of the reeds were plugged with dirt. So a lot of the keys weren't working. No one bid on it, so unfortunately this thing was probably going to go the way of a bonfire. And a couple of Lydia's friends, am I telling the story or are you? I feel like Kevin and Ann. Do you want me to tell the story or do you? You want to interject something here?
Well, I'm just not sure how long you're going to go on.
Okay, a couple of Lydia's friends thought Dad should refit it for a desk for Lydia. Anyway, so they said, you need to bring it home. So he brought it home. We talked to my dad, who's worked on the innards of pianos and old organs for many, many years. And he said, well, I bet you the reeds are just plugged up, so clean those out. So what I guess Keith intended as a shorter story made longer. We now have a working pump organ.
Somewhat.
Well, we're not going to use it for a concert.
Would you favor us with a tune?
Yeah, well, I don't have a book up here.
Feel free to sing along.
think that's a real song, sort of. I was never a strong one doing it by ear. What do you have? Oh, look at that. I'll tell you, we can stash stuff anywhere. One thing I actually wanted to do if I had had unlimited time yesterday without other responsibilities was I wanted to kind of end the evening for you last night playing a couple of patriotic songs. So maybe I'll do one right now on the pump organ. Although it may not be in here. It's not in here. At least under that title. I'll keep you hanging as to which one I'm thinking of. Maybe this one's not going to have patriotic songs in it because it's redemption songs.
Actually, the book was printed in the South during the Civil War.
So maybe they weren't
patriotic may not have been top of mind. Just like in Oregon.
And then a lot of you would know this, and really I should be able to. It's not in here. I don't believe it.
Don't you know it from memory?
No. Between memory and chords.
Was
trying
that
to think
the
about
Star
chords.
Spangled Banner?
No. This is really challenging me now. Okay, if I'm gonna keep doing this, you need to come get this fly away from my leg. Oops. Not like we don't have enough cancerous stuff around as it is. Of course, I've gotten hit with enough of that
You
stuff in the
asked
barn.
for the fly to be removed
sorry.
from your legs. What more is a fella to do?
I know. Because then I'd yell at you if you slapped me too.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Well, you'd slap the fly maybe. If you had a fly swatter. Now I'm kind of reminding me of growing up in my dad's home where he would just sit at the piano and do stuff by chords. Trying to figure out what he was hearing versus where it was on the keyboard.
Well, did you just show him your pizzeria sign?
I don't know if they've seen that or not. I think maybe I mentioned it when, because have you ever put it on the pavilion? I don't remember.
Not sure.
And the Utica Dairy Bar, that was from a couple of years ago when we did a Valentine's banquet at church. Because we have just down the road from our church on the corner the Utica Bar. And at the Valentine's banquet we had 4 high school girls, including Lydia. They were kind of the soda jerks, and they did ice cream sundaes and ice cream sodas and stuff for the people at the Valentine's banquet. So that's what that sign was from. The sweet corn was from Willie's Maze.
So don't ever fool yourself into thinking that Lydia can never be a jerk. There's Wilson.
How's it going, Wilson?
Wilson, you left the door open so more flies could come in.
Dad just had to spray for flies. Are you watching the weather?
What'd you wreck, Wilson?
I didn't wreck anything. I fixed it.
He's trimming.
Oh. Well, now that Wilson's here, has grabbed one of the best purchases we've ever made. Maybe not for the farm, but for the yard.
And the farm.
In an electric weed whacker. And the beauty of that thing is that it always starts.
Let's see if it'll start right now.
Well, you gotta put a battery in it. You're taking my battery?
No other ones.
Where's the one on your impact wrench?
My impact's in the house and it's on the impact.
Started.
Beautiful.
Good job, Wilson. Go whack some weeds.
No.
All right, Ma. Do we have you loosened up enough to go give us a tour of your room?
Oh my word, no. You can't tour it. It's almost
Well, maybe I'd have room to stick my arm in the door.
I
And
totally look like
swirl
a
the
hoarder.
camera around.
I think now this is what's going to happen someday.
Hoarder, she said.
Yes, hoarder. No, I'm not taking you into that room, but I'll show you very quickly what's upstairs if you're still with us and not totally bored at this point with the wanderings and musings. But this building used to be a greenery, and back in 2005 when we did have a tornado on the property, that area downstairs in the shop was actually just basically like a lean-to covered parking area. And these stairs were not here. They were actually on the outside of the building going up the side so that they came up over in that corner. So we took some insurance money from that tornado damage, and Keith enclosed the area downstairs. Obviously, we had the cement poured at the time, so that's what became his shop. And then upstairs, years and years ago, I thought, oh, this would make a great homeschooling place, but as many of my ideas are, there may be good ideas, but they don't have great follow-through. So anyway, but over the last couple of years, Keith and Wilson have worked on getting most of it insulated now. And this past late winter, early spring, they worked on putting the boards on the walls, and then they put up this beautiful live edge wall on the west wall. Just beautiful. So obviously there's a little bit more to go here getting the east wall insulated. So this has become a nice spot for, our house is not large enough really to have the whole family here. So we've had a couple of family functions now up in the shop. We did a birthday party up here in December because there are a lot of December birthdays in the family. And then we had Easter Sunday here. So the kids like to come up and hang out up here. So it's a nice space. There would be possible potential someday if one of the children stay on the farm and, you know, get married. Maybe Keith and I, if we could work out some semantics, would be able to move up into this building. So I look at this space up here too as maybe it would be nice to put my sewing room up here, but moving a big sewing table up here would not be ideal. What do you have there, Keith?
The latest and greatest in recorded music.
Could we hear it at its original speed?
Trying to slow her down for you.
Maybe try the other direction. Why is it changing speed?
Thomas Edison used the spring whip too strong.
I'll tell you, the musician in me is starting to go a little crazy. Yeah, the Victrola needs a little bit of help. So yeah, Keith, you got quite the museum going on up in this building. It is very fun to come up here and.
Well, if you want to know the history of this particular
Yes, please.
piece, it was. Let me see. My great grandfather and grandmother's. What was it? I don't know.
Was it Elsie and Alvin?
Could have been.
Yeah.
Or it could have been her parents.
Okay.
You know, it's not ancient. I think it's like from the early 1920s. But my grandparents were married in the early 20s, so it could have been theirs.
Yeah, either a wedding gift or they took money and went and got it or something like that. Seems to me maybe Kim has talked about it recently.
Because their CD player broke, so they went and.
I have to show you this too. Keith in his former life was a prototype model railroader. Am I saying that correctly?
As opposed to playing with toy trains.
Yes. When we got married and.
A scale model railroader, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. But when we got married and I brought along my G-scale Pennsylvania Railroad, you know, which he likes that train, but he would consider like that to be more playing with trains. But he was extremely exacting in his model railroading, and he used to have a layout, actually what in the room that is now my project room. And then when Kevin and Ann lived next door, they let him use, it wasn't half the basement of the trailer, but maybe a third of it or something like that. So he had quite the model railroad going up there in the basement. But then when they sold the house in 2006, he had to take it all out. But there are some surviving things. Barely, yeah. But so this this must be modeled after a real tunnel where?
It's in the middle of Montana. It's the former Milwaukee Road in the 16-mile canyon.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
Now abandoned and deep into someone's private property, so.
Is it? We know said person, don't we? I mean, not personally, but we know whose property it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess we won't mention it on camera. At different times along the way, as we've thought of different ways that we could potentially use the property here to diversify, make a little extra cash. One of the things that I was thinking about for a bit was maybe having an on-site made-to-order type bakery, which is most likely never going to happen, partly because I enjoy baking, but probably not enough to be doing it every day, all day long. But this is a little piece. It's an old paper cutter that I picked up at our local antique and vintage and whatnot shop. I really like the piece, and just in case we ever have a fun little shop on the property, it's kind of a neat old piece to be able to use to wrap up items. This is another piece that Keith picked up at the antique store in town. Old cash register. You figure it's from when?
1925.
Oh, I guess he's got it specific.
That's because it's got a serial number and a
cool
build ticket on it.
And this actually has been used on the property back a couple of years ago when Lydia did a plant sale. He had that set up outside.
Actually, Wilson used to keep some of his money.
Yeah, see if Wilson's got any money still stashed in there. A few coins.
He took all his bills.
But I will tell you, while we're kind of on this topic, we a couple weeks ago had the opportunity to meet in person a couple that views our channel. And they came down to see the Hordes Historical Museum with driving their RV. And so they stopped out here and spent a couple hours visiting with us. And while they were here, they were explaining to us something called Harvest Host. And for those of you who know what that is, I guess we're kind of knocking around the idea that maybe somewhere down the road, we could become a harvest host and have an available slot or two where those who are traveling in their RVs could stop for a night. And in that case, the way that program works is that you, as the person staying overnight, agree to either leave a donation or purchase product that the host family sells. And in that case, maybe we would have the opportunity to use our old cash register and our old paper cutter, maybe even the old scale. This was another auction find. Did you go with this in mind, or was this something you saw when you got there?
Saw it, needed it, came home with it.
See, as long as he keeps going to auctions and seeing things that he didn't know he needed until he saw it, I'll keep going to thrift stores and coming home with the same argument. What am I looking at?
All the license plates
there. Yeah.
Being the valance for the lights.
Yeah.
And that empty gap.
Oh, yeah.
We need some more license plates.
We need more license plates. Do you want them from any state in particular or any era in particular? That one's kind of...
I'll take any state but Illinois.
That one's probably a little newer than he'd prefer.
Which one?
That 09 Wisconsin plate, was that one of yours? From off a vehicle?
No, see this group starting at Michigan,
Yeah.
Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Wyoming, Tennessee, Nevada, Wisconsin, came from our pastor's wife.
Oh, Katie?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that she gave you some license plates.
Yeah.
Up here on the top are a couple of wooden toys actually that my dad built. Are you able to reach that plane? And there's a dune buggy. And he did the tractor too, right?
Your dad?
Yeah.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, I think all three of those.
Used to be Hank's. Which one? This
Yeah.
plane is Wilson's, interestingly enough.
Yeah. Back probably before Wilson was seriously interested in aviation. So we ended up moving them up here for safekeeping. How about that dune buggy? And the tractor. One more. Sorry. We've shown them the detail on the other ones. I think that was Hank's, right? To go with the Ford.
Yep.
9N. Yep.
Well, actually, it could have.
No, I mean just it as a
wrapper.
No, but I mean as a replica.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the wrapper, yes, that was actually one of Keith's creations when the kids were little. Must have dust.
Dust?
No.
That is my great grandma, Wilhelmina. Obviously, I never knew her, but she looked like a fine woman. Don't let that hatchet hanging in front of her give you any idea of what kind of lady she was. I just needed a place to hang the hatchet. And there is someone's probably future great grandma.
So I'll smile a
She
little bit.
might be
more.
a hatchet lady herself someday.
Yep.
Some antique wrapper plastic. And back in the day when the children actually did things like playing baseball outside, they used their gloves. Now they just hang on the wall.
Oh, there's a cool
right
old
above
one.
the antique Rust-Oleum paint.
Yeah, that one that my sister Leslie sent you is pretty neat.
Here it used to belong to Babe Ruth when he drove his car in Vermont in 1933. He dropped it out the window and Leslie found it.
Okay. All right, well, I probably ought to head down to the house and try to get something accomplished there.
You have wasted an hour just by bringing your camera into the shop here.
Well, it wasn't a waste.
If you're not sure how much time she wasted, why don't you add it up?
Good one, Keith.
Now you can use one of your laughing sound effects.
Yeah.
Have the cows proceeded up to the pasture?
Well, I told them they needed to get out of the mud and go find something to eat.
They have, but there's one laying down by my plow. Oh, no, they're all here. What a bunch of bums.
They need to get
Get out of the mud, you kids.
I gotta send Rascal after him, but then Rascal would be all muddy too.
That's, of course, what it should look like. All right. If you ever need a mattress You can buy your bed from the folks who build it.
There's a face you won't forget.
Ah. Or you could go down to Edgar Fink's place in South Milwaukee and get yourself a Fordson tractor or some sand and gravel. He also sells the Minnesota line of harvesters and corn cultivators, along with twine ropes and ply goods. At least he did in March of 1939.
Caption that picture.
Well, if you're that guy who's still watching, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell.